Hello and welcome to my donation 2.1 guide. I had a 2.0 guide, but since the well came out, I think it changed things enough that I definitely want to adjust what advice I recommend or the tips I recommend. All right, so to begin, let's start in Firene. So what donation level should you hit early on in Firene? I would say donation level 2, and that's it. Originally, I put it at donation level 3 to get an extra steel lance, just because, it used to matter, but then they give you a free steel lance with the one update, even without DLC, and then the DLC or the new well update changes things. It gives you a crazy lance that's basically better than a steel lance. It's essentially like a low weight silver lance. So level 2, just to hit the multipliers for the early chapters as soon as possible, will help you out in terms of just getting materials. The only other thing that would help is hitting level 4. And if you want to hit level 4 as you re-enter, so as you are exiting the mid-game and approaching the end game, you can hit level 4, but level 2 early on is definitely recommended. Alright, so you get to the Grand Crossing. It's a bridge. What do? You beat the map, and then you can now donate to Brodia. Funny enough, Brodia is actually the best place to hit high levels of donation as soon as possible. So as soon as you beat the Grand Bridge, you should hit donation level 3. And you can do this as long as you save your money and don't waste your money. You hit donation level 3 because Brodia is unique in that its multipliers on resources are much higher in scale each tier. So hitting donation level 3 gives you 5 times the steel and iron, and it gives you 300 iron post game on 2 chapters immediately, and it also gives you either 10 or 20 depending on the map for Brodia Castle and Fort on the Border for steel. So 10 to 20 steel per map, 300 iron per map. That's an insane amount early on, and that will help you upgrade things. And also for the paralogs, you're looking at the same amount. It's 300 iron and 10 steel per paralog, and these are the earliest paralogs. So early Brodia, level 3, as soon as you beat the bridge, is massive. And then also, after you beat this chapter, I think this is chapter 8, you get like 20 or 30k. You can actually potentially increase the donation to 4, which gives you a brave sword. I think it gives you like a piece of silver as well, which, that's pretty valuable. But it also scales the multipliers even further. So this is actually useful because when you do the paralogs, which you will be doing pretty soon, you get insane amounts of iron and pretty high amounts of steel, and it also scales the rewards. So basically, here's the breakdown. The first chapter, you have no multipliers. The second chapter, before you do it in Brodia, you immediately hit donation level 3. Now you're looking at 5 times multipliers. You beat this chapter, the game gives you money, then you hit donation level 4, and that's where it should stay. So then for the next chapter, you get 7 times multipliers, and then when you do Ike's paralog, which isn't that hard, and Lucina's paralog, which is actually the easiest paralog in the game, you get 7 times multipliers for iron and steel. And the reason why you want to do this is you do not need the money early on, right? The only thing you're really going to be doing is upgrading weapons. You should not be buying weapons almost ever before mid-game, and even then, like, the game hands you enough weapons that you shouldn't really be buying things. The only things you should really be buying are like utility staves and different items like that, and even then, that should be infrequent at best. But hitting tier 3, then beating this, then hitting tier 4 will profit you money in terms of resources, and at the very least, even if tier 4 loses you a little bit of money after converting the resources to gold using the flea market as the gold value for steel and iron, because like you can't buy iron, but you can buy steel for 500 each. You can buy silver for 5k each. And if you convert that into iron, 1 steel equals 9 iron. So in other words, iron, if you're going to buy it directly from the flea market by converting steel, is worth 55 gold each. So getting hundreds of iron early on is the equivalent of getting thousands of gold, like tens of thousands of gold in some case overall. So Brodia actually, unironically, is the best place to donate. All right, moving on. So you hit donation level 3, maybe 4, depending on what you want to do. I definitely recommend 3. So Firene 2, Brodia 3, potentially 4 if you want to do both paralogs. If you're not doing both paralogs, 3 is fine. And then you get to Elysia. You can't donate here. You have to beat this chapter, and then you're on a series. The series forces you to another chapter. You still can't donate, so Elysia stays at level 1. Then you get to Solm. So Solm, I've done different things on. So there's 2 ways to donate here. The first thing is you have to beat chapter 12, and then you can donate. So as soon as you beat chapter 12, you can donate, and as soon as you do, you should always hit level 2. Level 2 is very cheap. Doubling the amount of silver, iron, and steel you get is always worth it. You'll definitely profit because on chapter 15, you get 2 silver. So doubling that, that's 4 silver. If you were to buy that, that's 10k. Okay, so hitting level 2 objectively is worth it. Hitting level 3 gets you a Brave Axe, I believe, and it doesn't really scale anything else that's useful, but hitting level 4 can be useful if you plan on doing all the paralogs. So there's basically... So the breakdown is this: you enter Solm, you beat chapter 12, and then on you hit donation level 2. This should be mandatory, and then when you get to chapter 13, you can probably hit donation level 3, but it's not going to really matter, so you should skip that. So just get your increased rewards. Then you get to chapter 14. Chapter 14 hands you 40k, so you could easily get Solm to level 4 after this, and essentially this is what you're scaling. You're getting 6 instead of 4 silver on this chapter. This chapter drops silver. It also scales to iron and steel. And you also get increased rewards in this paralog if you do it, increased rewards in this paralog if you do it, increased rewards on chapter 16. So Solm, I would say, should always be level 2, and then you can level 4 it if you don't care about money and you want as many crafting resources as possible. So that's like the asterisk, right? Always level 2. Potentially level 4 if you want to do everything on it and you don't care about money and you just want as many resources early as possible. Because one thing that I think is kind of glossed over, because I actually remade this guide because of a few comments like pointing out some of the problems with the original one. Some of the problems with like not donating is that you lose out on early upgrade. So the more resources you get earlier on, the better, because then you can upgrade your weapons to higher tiers. So that actually does help in terms of expediency. So if you're playing the long game and you know you're going to do every paralog, you might as well hit high upgrade for Solm. But if you don't plan on doing paralogs, I would say just keep it at level 2. If you want to upgrade weapons faster, go to level 4 after chapter 14. If you can get it to level 4 before chapter 14, I'm not sure how you do that. That's a lot of money. But after chapter 14, it's pretty easy to do. But keeping it level 2 is totally fine. If you don't need the upgrades, you don't care to upgrade and want to save your money, you can just leave it at level 2. All right, so moving on to past chapter 16. So you re-enter Firene, and Firene has a lot of paralogs. So if you plan on doing every paralog, it could be worth it to keep Solm at level 2 and then get Firene to level 4. This particular chapter drops silver. So instead of, you get 2 silver. So if you keep it at level 2, you get 4 silver. If you get to level 4, you get 6 silver. So 6 silver, extra 2 silver, that's 10k worth of silver if you're going to buy it. And depending on how your dog's RNG pulls through, you might get a lot of silver, you might not. But re-entering Firene, donating to level 4 and just keeping Solm level 2 is viable if you plan on doing all the paralogs. It also scales the silver in this particular chapter. I'm calling out silver drops because they're very scarce. And there's key chapters that drop silver. And if you don't take advantage of that, or at least have donation level 2 in most regions, you're missing out on essentially profiting by getting more resources. So Firene level 4 for the increased silver on chapter 17 and the increased iron and steel, because that still does matter for upgrading weapons. And if you plan on doing every single paralog here, you're looking at Leaf's paralog, Lynn's paralog, Roy's paralog, and Corin's paralog. So you're looking at four chapters that are optional paralogs plus chapter 17. So that's 5 chapters at donation level 4. So that's definitely the point if you're going to hit donation level 4 to hit donation level 4, so that you scale everything if you are doing all the paralogs. If you're not doing all the paralogs, you might just consider saving money and just buying silver and steel as needed for crafting, because that's also a viable option. It is expensive to hit donation level 4 from level 2. I think it's like 35k. It's like 10k to go from 2 to 3, and then 25k to go from 3 to 4. Tier 5 is just unreasonable, and you're only going to be able to do that post-game. All right, so back to Elysia. So Route to Elysia is considered an illusion map. So if you want to hit donation level 2 now in Elysia, this would be the time to do it. Hitting donation level 4 in Elysia is something you can do. So it really depends. I would say Firene level 4, like at the end of, like, you know, as you enter the end game, makes the most sense on starting with chapter 17. But hitting donation level 4 here, kind of questionable. So here are the maps in Elysia. You have this map, which drops iron and steel. This map, which does drop silver. You have this paralog, Micaiah's paralog. You have Violet's paralog. So you have essentially 4 maps. Now, you do have a silver map as well, but I would say at this point in time, you're probably going to be doing donation level 2 here and getting 4 silver instead of 6. But if you want to go for the 6 silver, you can hit donation level 4. It's going to be very expensive. Now, if you have Anna and you're doing a lot of either farming or she's just been proccing a lot and she has high luck, maybe you can afford that. Maybe it's worth it. Similar to the argument in Solm for hitting high donation levels early, if you want to get as many resources as fast as humanly possible and you have the money, you can go for it, but I recommend donation level 2. And then we get to the middle area, which unfortunately there's not much information on, but from what I understand, and this is what has been stated, really it's kind of like a rumor, the middle area supposedly takes into account all the donation levels and then scales the rewards, but I haven't personally observed this, and if anyone knows anything about this, definitely drop a comment. But as far as I know, it doesn't scale the rewards, and you just get, you know, certain rewards based on unknown factors at this point in time. Maybe in a little bit we'll know, but if you know and you've tested it, like the thing is, it's hard to test, right? You have to completely beat the game and then get to this point with not hitting donation levels, and then, you know, beat a map, get the donation. Like it's not exactly easy to test, but what you could do is kind of hit donation level 2 and everything, and then beat a map, and then go back, and then hit donation level, you know, high Brodia level, and then hit it like 4 in a few areas, and then try it again. That would be an easier way to test it. That wouldn't be as punishing, so you're still like not sacrificing all these resources to get to this point. But the middle area, it's not clear. But I would say if everything is donation level 2, and let's assume the middle area is influenced by that, then it should help. But either way, you should be hitting donation level 2 in every area. I think donation level 4 Brodia makes the most sense, and donation level 4 Firene makes sense after you get back to Firene. Otherwise, it's, you know, hitting donation level 3 early isn't going to help you out that much. The Steel Lance doesn't matter because of a bunch of updates. It kind of mattered earlier on when the game was more strict, but now that it's more loose about its balance, donation level 2. So to recap, early game, donation level 2 Firene, beat the bridge, donation level 2 to 4 Brodia. Generally, you're going to be able to get it to like 2 to 3. Then for Brodia Castle, beat that, donation level 3 to 4 to scale Brodia if you're doing the paralogs. If not, just keep it at donation level 2 to 3. Elysia, donation level 1, can't do anything until you return to it. Solm, beat chapter 12, donation level 2. Palace, potentially donation level 4 if you plan on doing all the paralogs, and also to scale silver if you want it early. If not, leave it at 2. Return to Firene, donation level 4 potentially if you do all the paralogs. If not, leave it at 2. Return to Elysia, donation level 2, potentially 4 if you want to scale everything. Like basically everything should be at least donation level 2, and a few things can situationally scale to 4 depending on what you need. So if you get to Elysia and you have a ton of money and Firene is donation level 2 and you want to get more silver on chapter 19, you can do that. And then if you want to get scaled iron and steel on the paralogs in Elysia, you can do that. And then the middle area, I don't think we have enough information on it yet. If you know this and you've tested this, definitely drop a comment. But yeah, that's it for Donation Guide 2.1. Hopefully people find this one to be a little bit better. If my guides end up being bad, like if it's just like updates change the game or information comes out or something, I'll still leave the guide up. But if it's actually just like a bad guide, I'll take it down and put something, like I'll redo it. So yeah, thanks for checking this out. Definitely like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.